Farmer John's crops are starting to dry up, so he decided to irrigate it at night. But just as he reached his farm, he was left speechless. Land slid off his feet and he started sweating profusely. He saw wind is blowing from left to right and hence the crops are swaying towards the right. But look at the trees at the corner of the farm, their leaves are falling to the opposite side. John immediately understands that there was something definitely wrong.
Ghost! There's a ghost here!
Without wasting a second, he runs towards his hut to find shelter. He was so scared that he refused to step out of there. Just then, his eyes fall on the items kept around him and he immediately understands that the ghost had made his way into the hut too. Even though only one candle is lit, the shadows of the stacks of hay are being projected from different directions. How can this be possible?
Oh my god! It's here too! Someone save me!
He crawls his way out of the hut. Soon, he reaches a forest, where he senses the presence of an otherworldly being. Suddenly, a hand reaches out of the ground and grabs his leg. He falls to the ground and yells.
Who's there?
He gets up promptly, starts running and reaches a graveyard. He saw a girl sitting in front of a grave.
Hello?
The girl turns around and walks up to John. The girl was wearing a weird-looking watch. She was also carrying a bag which was letting out smoke.
What are you doing here so late at night, and why are you sweating so much?
I went to irrigate the crops, but was followed by a ghost.
The girl immediately dials Yash, the ghost hunter's number. At the moment, Yash was in a cave collecting important information of some notorious ghosts. He quickly powers his bike and leaves for the graveyard, where John and the girl were waiting for him. On his way, he comes across various wild animals and his dynamic watch starts beeping loudly.
This means there is a ghost nearby.
He looks at all the animals properly and instantly understands which one of them was the ghost. Look at the baby elephant. He has fully grown tusks. How can this be possible? Yash grows suspicious of the elephant and walks towards him. Suddenly, his watch starts blinking and beeping loudly. As the baby elephant notices Yash coming towards him, he starts ascending into the air. But Yash quickly pulls out his super gun and traps it in his tank. He finally reaches the river near the graveyard. Yash's bike has a special feature which enables it to fly in the air, but it isn't working today.
When it rains, it pours. Now I will have to cross this river all by myself.
He noticed that there is a banyan tree on this side and on the other side. He pulls out one rope of the banyan tree, ties a rock around it and throws it, in order to attach it to the other tree. With the help of this arrangement, Yash manages to get past the river successfully. He walks towards the graveyard and finds John and the girl waiting for him.
Hello, I am Yash the ghost hunter. Tell me, where is this ghost?
Sir, it's on my farm.
All of them leave for John's field at once.
Sir, I am sure the ghost is nearby.
How do you know that? My dynamic watch is not beeping. This means that the ghost isn't here.
But the girl was adamant that the ghost was close to them and keeps looking for it, alone.
Seems like she's mad.
Just then, Yash's watch starts beeping. He looks around and immediately recognizes the ghost's place of ambush. Before Yash could trap the ghost using his gun, it ties him with the rope. As John witnessed all this from the side, he starts shivering out of fear. The girl, on the other hand, was unafraid from the ghost and starts searching for it.
Oh, where are you?
She starts summoning the ghosts in weird high-pitched voices. John's apprehension increases and even Yash becomes confused. Suddenly, the girl opens her bag and white smoke comes out of it. The smoke spreads and the ghost emerges. The girl will now have to capture it immediately. She picks up Yash's dynamic gun, traps the ghost, locks it in her bag and vanishes.
How can this be possible? How did she disappear?
John runs towards Yash and unties the rope.
Sir, I think she was a witch. That's why she disappeared after trapping the ghost.
Whoever she might be, she won't be able to escape me.
Both of them walk around the forest in search of the girl, but fail to find her. Finally, Yash drops John back to his field and reaches Ghost World. He imprisons the ghost baby elephant and, as he lays on his bed, he thinks,
Who was the mystery girl? How did she disappear? She was definitely not a ghost, as my watch did not beep around her. But then who was she?
With all these thoughts in his mind, Yash drifts off to sleep. It was pouring heavily and Vince was making samosas in the kitchen. Suddenly, he realizes he forgot to switch off the fan in the living room and goes out. When he returns, he is left speechless. When he left the kitchen, one prepared samosa was kept in the plate, but it has vanished by the time he returned. How can this be possible?
The windows are locked. This means it wasn't done by an animal. Where did the samosa go?
He takes his samosas to the dining table, and just as he takes the first bite, the lights go off. He runs to his room to find his torch, but the lights come back on. What he sees after shocks him to his core. He was convinced there was a ghost around and was scared beyond words. He sprints out of the room immediately. Vince took only one bite of the samosa, but now only one piece of samosa is left. How can this be possible? He was sweating profusely, and suddenly, the lights start flickering. He was frightened out of his wits and runs out of the house. He was drenched in rain as he reaches an intersection. He witnesses a man standing nearby and walks up to him instantly.
Please help me! A ghost has taken over my house. Please help!
Just then, Vince realizes that the man was a ghost too. It's raining so heavily, and yet, the man doesn't have a single drop of water on him. How can this be possible?
Who are you?
And within a second, the man transforms into a deadly ghost. Vince bolts from there immediately and realizes that, in a hurry, he even left his cell phone at home. Soon, Yash the ghost hunter passes the road on his bike. He couldn't hear Vince as he had headphones on.
That's Yash the ghost hunter. I have to stop him anyhow, or else these ghosts will kill me.
There are several stones near Vince. He picks them up and starts throwing them towards Yash. Finally, a stone hits his bike and compels him to stop.
Seems like someone has attacked me.
He turns around and sees Vince throwing stones at him.
I have to teach this guy a lesson.
He turns his bike, races towards Vince, and punches him hard. Vince loses balance and falls to the ground.
Sir, why are you hitting me? Please hear me out first.
Vince then narrates the whole story to Yash.
Oh, I'm sorry, friend. There was a misunderstanding. If you guys want to protect yourself from notorious ghosts, then subscribe to the channel immediately. And don't forget to press the bell icon.
Both of them reach the intersection where Vince spotted the deadly ghost. Yash's dynamic watch starts beeping loudly. This meant that the ghosts were nearby. He looks around carefully. Notice that some food and something like sauce is lying there near the trash can. And shouldn't have it been washed away due to the rain by now? This means that the ghost was hiding inside the trash can. Yash withdraws his gun and walks towards the dustbin. But just as he was about to fire his dynamic gun, the ghost bombards him with all the smelly trash in the bin and manages to flee away.
Oh my god. It's stinking so bad.
The ghost flies towards Vince and lifts him in the air.
Sir, please help me.
Yash powers his gun, but the ghost was out of its range. It takes Vince to a dense forest and hangs him upside down on a tree. It lets out a signal and a ghost lion comes running towards them. The lion's eyes were extremely red, and just as it was about to leap to bite Vince, Yash enters like a superhero on his bike and strikes the tiger with its front wheel. The lion ran out of sight within moments. Even the ghost becomes scared and escapes instantly. Yash looks at all the trees around him and immediately understands the ghost's place of ambush. He noticed the papaya tree in the middle. All the fruits on it are small and unripe. There's just one papaya ripe and bigger than the others. How can this be possible? This was surely the ghost. Yash withdraws his gun and traps it. On their way back home, Vince tells Yash that he wanted him to check his house for ghosts too. They enter the house and Yash was convinced that there was a ghost in there. When Vince left the house, there were 3 samosas and a piece of samosa in the plate, but now, the plate of the samosa was empty. How else could this be possible? Since his watch wasn't beeping, this meant that the ghost wasn't in the same room as them. So, to hunt it down, they go to the garden. There were a number of plants and flowers around. There are only roses all around, but notice that there is a hibiscus in a pot in the middle. But Yash's watch still wasn't beeping. He walks up to the flower, but only to realize it was fake.
Someone has placed a fake flower here to confuse me.
Just then, Yash's watch starts beeping loudly. He tracks the ghost. It was on the 2nd floor of Vince's house. They reach the pantry, situated on the 2nd floor. Yash looks around and understands where the ghost was hiding. The sack of rice has lying on the floor, but not a single grain of rice has fallen out of it. How can this be possible? Yash pulls out his gun and traps the ghost in it. He then engines his bike and leaves for Ghost World. He bottles all the spirits and suddenly remembers about the tantric. He leaves to meet Kittu at once. The story of the tantric will unravel itself in the next episode. Thank you.